How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Bengals Steelers season finale, 8:30 Saturday. I was going to say afternoon. Saturday night. Ravens going to play Saturday afternoon. Even with the Ravens playing Saturday afternoon, people were saying, hey, is there a chance the Pittsburgh Steelers bench the starters? I would say absolutely not. You know, it's just kind of knowing how Mike Tomlin is a coach. But even if the Ravens win, the Steelers can't win the division, but they can stay and remain the 5 seed. If the Steelers lose, Chargers win, they go to the 6 seed. And yeah, sure, it's the 5 to the 6, but there's a lot of implications. Number one, hey, you're the 6 seed, now the 5 seed. You're the 5 seed, so the Chargers could go up there, play Baltimore, play them tough, possibly win that football game for you, knock somebody out that's a higher seed for you. Second of all, more importantly, the Chargers would go to the number 5 seed, and you would go to Baltimore in the first game of your playoffs. And I would have to guess anybody, and this is nothing towards Houston, but anybody out there would rather be playing Houston than Baltimore entering the wild card round this season. So that's a lot to play for. Meanwhile, we enter this football game. And you say, hey, who is going to win this one? And honestly, this is just looking at, just thinking about this game before diving deep into it. This is my complete sentiment on it. Emotionally, the Bengals win it. Logically, the Steelers win it. And what I mean by that is, in football and sports in general, you can play and win a lot of football games with a lot of confidence, with a lot of momentum. The Bengals right now, 4-game win streak, 4-8, was supposed to not make playoffs, out of playoffs. All of a sudden, they're playing for a playoff spot potentially here. If the Denver Broncos lose, the Miami Dolphins lose, in the final week of the season. Joe Burrow is playing as confident as you possibly can. Joe Burrow is your MVP. He's not going to get the award. Whatever, it's a trophy. By definition, Joe Burrow is your MVP. If the MVP is the most valuable player in the league, the most valuable player to a team, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow doesn't have the 6th ranked pass block offensive line in the league. Joe Burrow doesn't have the defense that's got the most takeaways in the league this season. Joe Burrow doesn't have a defense, period. Joe Burrow doesn't have nothing. Joe Burrow's Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, who, by the way, dropped 4 passes last week, and the Bengals still found a way to win a football game. Joe Burrow has Cade York, who doinked one off the uprights. That was a chip shot on his football team, and not an 80% clip rate Tyler Bass. And again, they give the Josh out. That is what it is. But just if you watch football this season and you say who can replace Joe Burrow in this football team and do what he's doing, I would say nobody. He has been phenomenal. He has done what he has had to do no matter what. Like last week is a prime example of Joe Burrow Joe Burrow's a one-man show. When your studs are dropping 4 passes, that was it. It was Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, right? And now even these guys, dropping the ball, showing some problems. That's what Joe Burrow's been dealing with all season across the board. A team that's tops in the league, near tops in the league when it comes to wide receivers fumbling the football. Kickers missing points late in the game. You know, in most situations, a team says, all right, 30-yard line, 35, go ahead, kick the field goal. He'll make it. That has not been the case for the Bengals. And finally, we've seen it last week with Zach Taylor. You know, the Bengals had the ball at a 3-yard line. First and goal at the 3 and said, a field goal wins it, keep Joe Burrow out there. And there was a reason for that, because 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, there's like, let's run the ball. They didn't have a chance. When another team thinks the Bengals are about to run the football, it almost felt like they was tipping plays. But we say all of that knowing Joe Burrow found a way. We say all of that knowing there's been some rumblings in these press conferences, some bad vibes in Pittsburgh. Not the best of ball being played lately, on a little bit of a losing streak. And again, when you say the momentum, the confidence, maybe Russ was riding a high for a little bit, because we know these last couple of seasons for Russell was not his best. He did take exceptional care of the football, 5 interceptions this season, 8 last season. In those regards, where you say, well, he can still keep this team in a position to win games, which is huge. Again, we talked about the turnover differential a little bit ago. Pittsburgh, right up there, tops in the league, second in the league right now, I believe, in turnover differential, which is huge. And you go into this game and say, can they get off that snide? Because a lot of teams could fall into playoffs. I've seen some Pittsburgh fans say it's like, this team's going to fall into playoffs. You know, a few weeks ago, and like, here it is, they're falling into playoffs. But all that, Bengals win. Bengals beat them up. Now, if the Bengals weren't playing for a playoff spot right now, they were 7-9. I think Pittsburgh would demolish them. If you look at this on paper, we just brought it up. Bengals were dropping passes last week. It was doinking balls off the upright. They can't pick up second, third and shorts, fourth and shorts in the run game. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Chase Brown. Chase Brown's a weapon, a big one, if they lose him. Remember, Herbert, he's had some fumbling issues in the past, even as a Bengal. Could he turn the football over, cause some problems? And you look at this Bengals offensive line, we heavily just documented this about why Joe Burrow is an MVP in our previous videos. Hey, Bengals are horrendous in the trenches. A bottom 10 in the league in every single category. More than bottom 10, really. The 31st in pass blocking. Their pass rushing, 29, 30. It's not pretty. And they're going to go into the game losing in the trenches. The secondary's got some promise in the future. I think some of these guys do if they stay healthy. But, depleting the secondary. Logan Wilson's out. Sam Hubbard's done. They lost DJ other guy. Dax Hill. Lost Dax Hill earlier in the season. And all in all, they're still finding ways to win football games. But when you watch them play and win these football games, and this is why Denver was their biggest win of the season, it's all Joe Burrow. It's all Joe Burrow. And the defense, the identity of the Bengals defense is, hey, we will get a turnover in this game, put you in a position to win the game. Maybe you got to play perfect. Besides, I'll put you in a position to win this game. They have improved lately. Kind of the identity of the Bengals defense. Joe Burrow's got to put up a lot of points. Joe Burrow's got to win it late. Defense is going to have a hard time stopping teams in the fourth quarter. But they'll get you a turnover. But if you're going to say, hey, if they're going to get you a turnover against a team that is one of the best in the league at turnover differential, take care of the football, that might be a little bit more difficult than you think. When you're going to play a team that is going to dominate in the trenches on the defensive side of the football, they have an excellent secondary. It may be a little bit more difficult to win the football game. When you have a team that's not afraid to run the football on you, when you have a team whose quarterback looked like he came back, all the way back, throwing for over 400 the last time he played you. Tough game to win. Very tough game to win. This reminds me a lot of Baker Mayfield in the Browns. A lot of bad vibes, a lot of worries about the quarterback play, but at the end of the day, they got a great defense still, and they come into Cincinnati, and Baker Mayfield looks like an MVP. I think we could see that once again out of Russell Wilson. And you see, even watching the Bengals game last week, saying they made too many mistakes. When you play a great football team, this is why I say Denver's not as good as, clearly not as good as we may have thought. When you play a good football team and you make as many mistakes as the Bengals do, you don't win. They made a lot. They tried to give the game to Denver in overtime. They had horrible clock management. The coaching just doesn't feel like it's the best. It feels like, again, on paper, everything favors the Steelers minus 915. But we've seen team sport and history. They should probably still win this game, but we've seen with the way teams can get hot, teams can ride the momentum. I mean, look what the Giants did, those Super Bowl runs. Anything can happen. Football is a crazy sport. Playing with confidence is a whole nother monster. That being all said, I do think we do see a bounce back. I think we see Russell Wilson kind of get back on track. I think we see the offense of the Steelers click a little bit. We're going to see TJ Watt wake up, play some dominant football like he does and has in the past. He had 5 QB hits, 2 sacks last time he played the Bengals. If we get their secondary, Joey Porter returning, if this secondary can play at a high level. The problem, again, why there's such a difficult thing with the Bengals on paper with a team like the Steelers. Granted, they put up 38 last time and they figured them out. A team like the Steelers, much like the Broncos, is when you play these guys with great CB play, yeah, sure, your receiver, they're going to get open. But if you can double chase, it takes him a little bit longer to get open. If you can double key, it takes him a little bit longer to get open. And you can't pass block, and you got elite pass rushers on the other side, it gives Burrow 0 time. Last week we've seen him a few times where he dropped back 3 steps when he's getting hit. But it was in his face. He didn't have any time at all. Sacked 7 times. That makes it extremely difficult for anybody to operate. Could happen. We'll see. Hopefully it does. I mean, again, this is a team that put up 38 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers last time. This is a team that just played the Broncos, who was, again, great defense. 30 points. They said, let's slow down Chase. Chase wasn't really the huge difference maker. He might have had bigger numbers. He didn't not had them drops, but wasn't as big of a difference maker as T. Higgins was. Not as big of a difference maker as Mike Gesicki was. Even got Yossi Vash involved, because that is, again, the level that Joe Burrow is playing at. He's going to find the open man. Just got to have trust. We was just talking about it. I was like, hey, you just got to be able to. Joe Burrow just needs specialty guys, kind of like Brady did, where he doesn't need all-in-one players. He needs some specialty guys that he can trust. He plays with so much anticipation. He just needs to be able to trust his receivers are going to be where the ball is coming out of his hands when they're not even expecting the ball yet. But we'll see what happens in that regard. I think you look at that and say, Bengals will be all right offensively. There's something about the way Joe Burrow is playing right now and the way he is clicking. They're going to be all right offensively. They put up over 27 points per game this season against top 8 pass defenses. They have now played, entering Pittsburgh this week, this would be the 6th game they've played against top 8 pass defenses. So they've played stellar. It really feels like one of those teams, doesn't matter what the defense is, you can't stop them. I don't think you look at the league this season. Chiefs are great. There are some great defense. You don't look at this league, and I instantly think Peyton Manning, Legion of Boom, right? There is situations where the defense is stellar enough you could slow down anybody. I don't know if there's a defense like that this year in the NFL. Makes me think, hey, Joe Burrow can be the football. The question is, again, what are we going to get out of Pickens? What are we going to get out of Harris? I wonder what the mojo of the Steelers is going to be, because again, they have great players. Harris has looked a lot better this season. Russell Wilson, again, a couple harder games. And you know what? You Baltimore, Kansas City, they're playing some tougher teams. They're going to make you look bad. They're great football teams. And that's why, again, I say you kind of have to discredit the way he's looked the last few weeks. I think he'll bounce back, be all right against Cincinnati. You just wonder where the locker room's at, where the confidence of the locker room's at. Something, we've seen it in the past. Mike Tomlin's guys, always outspoken players, but Mike Tomlin, one of the best in the business at keeping his guys as a unit under control, winning football games where it might look like a distraction to the public, but in-house, usually you don't see nothing too crazy where it's costing them. Trying to think, I don't want to get back on it, where it's costing them football games. Could have happened. Could have happened. Don't watch every Steelers football game, but we'll see what happens there. Again, I see the Steelers dominating in the trenches. I see this as a game if the Bengals want to win it, Joe Burrow has to carry this football team. I see otherwise it's Steelers across the board in a close one. I want to be honest. I want to say Steelers 35, Bengals 28. That's what I want to say. But am I going to bet against Joe freaking Burrow right now in the way he's playing in a must-have-it, gotta-win-it game in Pittsburgh? It matters because we can't win at home in Cincinnati for some reason. Pittsburgh, it's a bonus to play on the road. If Chase Brown doesn't play, I do think the Steelers will win this one. I think just because I think that's an added one less security blanket for Burrow, one less guy that Herbert's been okay. That does worry me, though. In a game like this, where you can have that added weapon, when you're going to have to score at will, I think, for the Bengals. I think the Steelers win on paper, 35-28. I think the momentum, and I think the level that Joe Burrow is playing at right now, I think the Bengals find a way to win this one, 35-31. Love the y'all's thoughts. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.